Good morning, everybody, and welcome to The Art as Well. This is our 25th episode, and I'm delighted this morning to welcome our special guest, Aoife Ward. Now, why am I excited about that? Well, I think it's great to get a new perspective on the whole art scene. We've had some fantastic people who are, have reached, elevated their career to the heights and all of that. But, it'd be nice to get the views of a young person who's literally just starting out, and not only starting out, but starting out at a situation where the market is sort of closed to them almost. But people have a way of getting around things, and as the late great Dr. Wayne Dyer said, the minute you start looking at changing the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I think Aoife has this in spades, because she sees things in a very, very different way. And she doesn't take things too seriously. In fact, she likes creating a bit of humor out of her art. And she touches on all aspects of art, from video, film, photography, sculpture, all of these sort of things, performance. And I just find it very, very refreshing. And she's a great story, I think, as well. Aoife and I have had a short chat about her career. And I just, I think we could benefit from listening to what she has to say as much as she can from looking at past interviews with artists. So good morning to you, Aoife.
Hi, Alan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Great. Where are you talking from there? Where are you zooming?
I'm in my friend Nico Salvino's studio, because it's very neat and nice, and he let me borrow it. But it's in the back loft studios on St. Augustine Street in Dublin. Okay. That's where I have my studio now.
So your studio is actually there as well?
Yeah, it's like way down the back. It's the tiniest one and the messiest one. So I didn't think I'd want to blast that on the internet. So I'll pretend this one's mine. It's really nice.
I think we have a photograph of that.
Yeah.
And how many other artists are there?
I think there's around 50 of us, but we're not all in at the same time. So no. It doesn't seem like it's 50 people crowding in. It's a 24/7 studio, so everyone just sort of comes as they please, which is nice.
Oh, good. And you're all quite separate, so there's no issue from a safety point of view.
Yeah, it's not, well, so some of them are private like this, where you have the door and it's an enclosed space, and then where I am, it's kind of like little saloons, so everyone has a little section they're in. Yeah, so everyone's in their little pod, which is grand.
Very good.
So we've been able to stay open and come in and work.
Excellent. That's good, isn't it? Handy like that.
It's fantastic. It's so good.
So let's go back to why you were inspired to take that route for art. What set you alight with the whole concept?
Like as in when I was a child and when I started. I think it was like the only talent I had, so I just ran with it.
Yeah.
Maybe being from like I had 3 other siblings, so there's 4 of us in the family, and kind of everyone has their thing. And my thing was art, and it kind of, when you're a child, I suppose it becomes your identity. When you're in school, there was like 2 Aoifes, and I was the art Aoife, and then the other Aoife. Like it becomes your identity, the thing that you're into.
Yes.
And I think it was just really encouraged, and it really it got given room to flourish. So I went to like an art school when I was living in Skerries when I was growing up. And then from that, did my portfolio and went to NCAD. But just as a child, I just always, every gift was a packet of paint, or every gift was a pencil, every gift was a piece of paper. It just, yeah.
And so when you went to NCAD, did it fulfill all the dreams that you wanted to? Or, what was your experience there?
It was amazing. Like it really, really encouraged me, or it really just got me to where I want to be now. So when I went into NCAD, always throughout secondary school, because of the art school I went to when I was in secondary school, I was trained in drawing and painting, and I knew I was quite talented in that because I was trained in it. Like it was kind of, trained into me. So when I went to NCAD, then I went in being like, I want to be a painter because this is what I know, and I know I'm good at it, so I want to be a painter. And the really good thing I think about NCAD is with most art colleges in first year, you just kind of do everything. There's no, you're in the paint department, you're in the sculpture department, you're in ceramics or whatever. You just do kind of in general everything, and they give you these modules with a description, but they don't give away, what the theme of it is.
Yeah.
So, and it means that like when you're making the work, naturally whatever you want to do comes through in it. So at the end of the first year, we had to choose our subjects. I think I did try to choose painting, and my tutors kind of looked at me and they were like, Aoife, you don't paint, like you haven't painted all year, you've been sculpting, you've been making things. And I hadn't even realized, because it was just through the brief I was given, I was like, okay, it has to be three-dimensional, it has to be that way, or it has to be performative, or a video. I never was sitting down thinking, okay, I'll paint a picture of this, you know?
Was there any aspect that sort of grabbed you that said, oh, I didn't realize this was part of art?
Definitely pretty much everything in sculpture.
Yeah.
Like, so I went into then sculpture and expanded practice. That's the official title of the department. And I knew what sculpture was. That's kind of like, everyone knows what sculpture is, you know,
sure.
Marble, rock, clay, wood. But the expanded practice part really just kind of, like, the expanded practice part is just everything. Anything you want to do. It can, like, sculpture can be video, it can be performance, it can be photographs, it can be a conversation. It can be anything, you know. I remember even, I think it was for my portfolio, actually, I did a conversation with my little sister, and it was you could go down two routes, you know, how if I say yes to a question, it can go this way. If I say no to a question, it can go this way. And that conversation recorded was a sculpture.
All right.
That makes sense. It's kind of anything that goes.
Yeah, okay.
But I didn't realize that. I had no clue at all about it. I thought to myself, I don't want to do sculpture because I don't care for clay. I don't care for, you know, sculpting. But
as such, okay. So you're really looking for objects and working with objects.
Yeah. Because actually, like, in terms of sculpture, I'm not that skilled. Like, I don't know how to put stuff together that well. But I think I've, in my mind anyway, created a type of sculpture that fits my skill level. Like, maybe I don't know how to weld, but I know really well how to sellotape things together. I'm very good at sellotaping things together. So that's where my sculpture talents lie.
Would they be temporary then?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And they definitely will fall apart. And
okay.
Very fragile.
So then you had an Erasmus year?
Oh yeah, so I was quite lucky. So when I was in NCAD, is when they changed it from 4 years to 3 years, and obviously everyone's quite upset about that because you need time to kind of grow, and 3 years is a very short time in the arts, in the little art world. So I was lucky that at the end of my second year, they were like, okay, we're gonna just try out an Erasmus for a year and see how it goes. So I just went. I went. So we had like a 1 week to apply, and I think it was the week where we had a big project due at the end as well, so we were all a bit stressed. But I went through 80 websites, because they were all the colleges we could go to. And I rated them from 1 to 10 of how cool the websites were, and then I chose where I wanted to go based on how cool the website was. So I ended up in this tiny town called Enschede in the Netherlands, and I went to the Aki College of Art. What was it called? Aki Artes, I think it was called.
Yes.
This tiny college, like 200 students across 4 years, which to me was mental. Because NCAD, like, it's small anyway, but there's 1,000 students across the 3 years.
Yes.
You know, but I think it was so good to go into a college where I felt like I was the exchange student. There's only 200 students. I could get to know them all very well, and I wasn't.
And you went on your own, didn't you, Aoife?
Yeah, I did, exactly. So
because a lot of your contemporaries would have gone in pairs to various places.
Yeah, I think unintentionally, but when we all got our places, I sort of looked around and I realized, oh, they're all going like kind of in groups, in twos. But I think it was so beneficial to go just by myself, because there was no one who had a prior knowledge of my work at all there. No one who was like, you know, if I was trying something new, I didn't have in the back of my mind someone thinking, oh, she doesn't normally do that, does she? You know, so I had no expectations, no anything. So I really got to experiment and also as a person, I got to kind of like really lean into my personality and be a very individual person.
I know. Were you homesick at all? Were you?
Actually wasn't really. I was gone for a whole year, but because it was only the Netherlands, like flights were 15-20 euro home. So if I wanted to pop home like for a weekend if I needed to, but I didn't really get homesick because flights were so cheap. Friends visited, or I could go travel, and I think because it was my first time being away like that, I was just so excited for the whole year to be out.
And what did you learn about yourself or art, or both?
I think in that year I really learned to just like let loose and not try to be so serious. I think in NCAD, like, nothing against NCAD, but there is quite a pressure on making work that is saying something in terms of make a statement. You know, what are you trying to say with this? Why should I care? What? And that's important, I think. But I think there's also a lot of room for making work because you want to make work. Why did you make this? I don't know. Cause.
Does there need to be a reason?
Exactly. I think just making for the sake of making is the valid reason. So in the Netherlands, when I arrived like a week late, and I remember going to my tutor being like, okay, sorry, I'm late, number one. And then also, is there a brief, like what do I have to catch up on? And like give me the forms and the sheets and the information, what do I have to do this year? And they kind of looked at me and they were like, oh, there's your studio, like go make something. And I was like, oh, but surely there's something I have to work towards, or how do I like break down the grades for me? I want to know how to achieve them. And they were like, you're an Erasmus student, like you're going to be fine. We just want you to explore and make and almost grade yourself, like be happy with what you're making. You know?
Interesting.
So that was great.
As long as you have your sellotape.
As long as I have sellotape, a bit of blue tack, a hot glue gun.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Now I know we're going to see some slides and video of work that you've done over there. But let's get a couple of the conversations over before we start to do that. So tell us what happened after you came back from that year.
So I came back from Erasmus and I had this more open mindset towards making. Like I was really into humor within art and having happiness and humor as a valid emotion. You know, it doesn't need to be serious. It can be playful and it can be fun and it can be funny. So I came back with this sort of more open mindset, and I found a bunch of artists who I really liked and who I really admired, and even artists who I was really quite jealous of. You know, I was like, oh God, I wish I made those things. So I came back with a nice little repertoire of people I admired. And so I came back into final year and just was like, I'm just going to make whatever I want. I'm just going to do whatever I want. Yes. That was my mindset. It was just, I'm going to make something good. Yeah. And that year also my friend Ali Farley, she's also an artist here in the back loft. We share a studio together. And when she came back, I think she went through a similar thing of just.
Where did she go?
So she went to Poznan in Poland.
Oh yes, yeah.
I'm not really quite sure the name of the college. I don't think I could even pronounce it. But she went to Poznan on her Erasmus.
Right.
And we didn't talk for that whole year really. And then when she came back in, I think we just sort of clicked. And she had gone through a similar thing of being like, okay, I kind of know myself a bit more. And we were into the same artists. So we during that year started collaborating together in a really fun way. We had our own practices because we were, you know, getting ready for a degree show, which is quite serious. No matter how fun the work is, it's still, you know, it's quite heavy to be doing. And I found our collaborations really helped me, that when I got a bit itchy, when I was a bit like, oh, this work is too much pressure, I'm gonna mess it up if I don't do something crazy right now. So me and Ali would go off and make a really fun, quick work in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And then I'd be like, okay, it's out of my system. Now I can really seriously think about what I'm doing. You know? So that happened in my final year, which is great. That collaboration, like I'm still doing it today. It really pushed the work.
And what is the memory that is the greatest memory that you have of your time in NCAD in terms of projects that you worked on? Have you one project that stands out that you'd say, God, I love that?
It's a hard question.
Well, I was thinking of the GAA one.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know my answer. Yeah.
I have your CV here, you know.
Oh gosh, you let me know. Okay. Yeah, so when I was then in fourth year, Philip Napier, who's the head of fine art, so NCAD has this collaborative project with the DAA, the Dublin Airport Authority, called the Creative Journeys Project, where they just, I guess, collaborate each year. So Philip Napier came into sculpture and he was like, here's a brief, put in a proposal, we'll see if you'll get it. So me and Ali put in a proposal, and what the DAA were offering was, like, you know, the trolleys when you're in the airport to like carry luggage around. They had a bunch of broken ones of those basically. So they just dropped them down to the sculpture workshop at NCAD. There was like 6 or 7 of them, and 7 of us got chosen. Our briefs got chosen. Yes. I think it was 7 anyway. And so we took a trolley, and we had to work on it, and we're going to exhibit it then. So me and Ali were thinking about the trolley, and we were like the trolley helps everyone else go on holidays, but it never gets to go on holidays itself. So we kind of took a bit of care towards it because we're quite into objects, and we quite I don't know, I think our hearts kind of go out to the objects themselves. So we took this trolley around Dublin as if it was our friend who we just picked up from the airport. We brought it to all our favourite spots in the city. We brought it to Dublin Ink, and it got one of the tattoo artists drew like a little tattoo on it for it. We brought it to Murphy's and gave it an ice cream. We just like got a full ice cream and shoved it on, and we got it like tourist t-shirts and brought it to our favorite pubs and just showed it Dublin as we see it. And it's like this 2-hour video of, it's not even filmed that well, like it's really handheld camera, shaky camera, us going right up to the trolley, like, hi, how are you? Are you having a good time?
Did you bring it to the Guinness Storehouse?
No, we didn't.
That's probably logistically not.
But like, we wouldn't go there. Like if a friend of mine arrived in Dublin, I was like, where would I bring them? I wouldn't bring them to the tourist spots. Like, I brought them to Hogan's. That's my favorite pub. I brought them to the Pav to watch the cricket because the Pav is lovely. We showed at the Spire. We just were like, what would I want to show in my Dublin, you know? Because I think there is so many tourist videos that are shot so beautifully, and it's like, look, here's a pan of the Guinness Storehouse, here's a pan of the Liffey. Whereas I'm like, that's not how I see Dublin at all, you know?
Some great drone footage or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like we brought it down Henry Street, and one of my favorite shots in it, we brought it down Henry Street, and there was a busker there, this man singing a big like soprano song. And we stopped with the trolley, and he just turned and not even to us, he looked into the camera of the trolley, and he was serenading the trolley itself. And I was like, that's the Dublin I want to show. I want to show this strange man singing to my trolley.
Yes. Lovely. Okay, so what happened after that? I mean, you know, you left college, you got your degree.
I finished. I got out of there. Yeah. We graduated. It was great.
Yeah.
So I graduated from NCAD, and in my final year, I was really, I'm from Dublin. I lived at home during college because, you know, I lived in Dublin. I went to college in Dublin, so I lived at home.
Sure.
I had the year away, and when I came back, I was like, I definitely want to go away again. I know I need that. So I was really adamant about, before I move out properly, I want to go on a residency. I was just like, I want that. Sounds really like spoiled. I want a residency, and I'm going to get one. But I did. I had that mindset of, this is what I want. And that was the goal. So I was entering loads of things, and I got shortlisted for the NEO residency, which I think is in Manchester. And that was really exciting. I got like to the final point and I just didn't get it, which is grand. But I think it gave me the confidence of, you know, you nearly got something.
Yes.
And then I just went through, one day I was like, okay, get one. So I went to this website where they list loads residency, like from A to Z. Yeah. And I just started every single one that I was applicable for, that didn't cost so much money, that I knew I could do. I applied. So I got to like halfway through B, and then I was tired. But luckily one of the A's accepted me. So I got to go to
so you didn't have to go to Z.
I didn't have to. I didn't even make it. Yeah. So it's good.
Well done. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, it was September, October 2019. I got it. Was it 2019? It was last year.
Yes. Yeah.
I got accepted to go to Ateliers 89, which is in Aruba. It's a Caribbean island, for 2 months, which was just fantastic, because I was given 2 months to just do whatever I want, you know? No grades. No, it was the first time where there's no grades. There's no one saying, do this, do that. It was, I had to make the work. Yeah. You know? When I arrived, the guy was like, make the work, don't. If you want to do an exhibition, off you go. If you don't. There was, I didn't have to do anything. It was, I could fly on the beach all day for 2 months. I didn't have to do anything. Wow. So that was nice.
I'm very jealous. I mean, the Caribbean, it sounds absolutely beautiful. Is it a lovely island?
It was beautiful, stunning. Yeah. And actually, what was kind of nice is I wouldn't say that I'm quite a person to make art about where I am, you know? Like, I feel like my art could be made anywhere, but because I was in Aruba and it was so gorgeous, and I was like, I have to go outside every day. Of course, it's beautiful, it's sunny, it's 30 degrees. Yes. I have to go swimming, and I ended up making work about that. Like, I made work. One of the pieces I'm showing in a bit is called Going Swimming in Reverse, where it's about me going swimming. You know, and the work is really like things I found in Aruba. Like, how can I, you know, don't waste this opportunity. Don't make work that you could make at home. Make it. Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Well, look, on that point, why don't we show some of your work?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And you can talk us through.
Okay, perfect. That's me. That's my name, Aoife Ward. So I just chose this as like kind of a cover picture. This is an experimental work that I made in my final year. It's called Watching Telly Sitting on a Chair. So I guess it's an introduction to lots of my work is just about very normal things. Like, all I'm doing is watching telly sitting on a chair, but in an absurd way, you know, the telly is sideways, I'm sideways, the remote is sideways, but I'm still doing this very normal, boring action that we all do every single day. So that's kind of the things I like in my work. I like it to be so accessible, like everyone can relate to this. I'm just watching telly, I'm just sitting on a chair, but
Yes.
I'm being a bit weird.
Yeah. No, but I mean, all of this is probably training your brain to think in a particular way.
Mm.
You know, so you're turning things upside down, or indeed on its side, as in this case.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, like, you
And
know,
that
when you're
leads
lying
to
in
other
bed on your
things.
phone, why can't you lie in bed and also turn your telly on its side, you know?
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
That's not an official piece, but it's a nice little image. So this is one of my favorite works I ever did. I think this, to be honest, I'm not even tooting my own horn. I think it's my best work, to be honest.
Okay.
So I'm putting it out there. But I
All
made
right.
it in the Netherlands, and this is one of the works where like I stopped trying to be serious and I was like, let's just do something. So it's a little video, and you can play it if you want whilst
Yeah.
you press play and then just kind of jump to the middle or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's called To Perform a Cartwheel, and I was doing this week-long project. So we do that a lot in the Aki, these little week-long projects. I forget what they're called. Like they're called labs. And it was all about repetition, and I love repetition. Anything repeated or multiples or the cycle, like things returning to the starting point. I really, really like that within work. So I was thinking of repetition and circle and cycle, and I was like, cartwheels. That's, you know, you go off at one point, you start at the other. But I can't do a cartwheel, but I've always wanted to. So in my mind, I was like, this is a week-long project. What I'll do is every single day, I'll get up and I'll go out. This is the back of the college, this little grass space. And I'm just going to practice doing a cartwheel. I'm going to train. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to just do it. I'm going to learn this. And then on the Friday for the exhibition, I will do a cartwheel. I will just get up in front of everyone and do the cartwheel. And that's the work. It's just me doing a cartwheel. And so I started filming it just to document how things go. And what happened was on the third day, I sprained my arm really badly and I actually couldn't do any more cartwheels. I couldn't even like straighten my arm out at all. So I had to just work with what I had. So I took all this footage of me trying really, really hard to do cartwheels. And then it's like a split screen. So it's meant to be across 2 screens. And the text is like a technical scientific definition of how to perform a cartwheel. Yes. And that's the work. I think, you know, there's humor in it because I'm obviously not performing a cartwheel. But here I am telling you, okay, guys, this is how you perform a cartwheel. Watch me and listen to me. Yeah, I love that work.
You seem to wear that with a badge of honor.
Oh, absolutely.
Not being able to do things.
Yeah.
and therefore succeeding at doing them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, shall we move on?
So that was one of my favorite works from my exchange, and this is my degree show. It's called In Theory They Work, which I guess kind of is of the same mindset as the cartwheel one. It's things just not working. Like I just can't do a cartwheel. It won't work. So when I came back and I did final year in NCAD, I just had this mindset of like, I'm going to just do what I want and I'm going to sculpt. I'm going to make things. So I'd spent lots of years, because we do our thesis within the first 6 months. So you're very mentally engaged and you're doing loads of research and you're researching your art and your own practice. And then my thesis was basically based off of Dadaism and uselessness. And that's what I like in my work anyway. So I spent the first 6 months being so in my head and so researchy and being like, okay, I know what I'm about. I know what I'm about. And then all of a sudden we handed in the thesis and I was like, I'm sick of learning. I want to just make something. So I just went in. I didn't know what I was going to make. I grabbed a bunch of stuff from a skip and just items I had. And I went into the sculpture workshops and I was like, I am going to make. I am going to sculpt. I'm going to, with my hands, do something. And this is just what happened. I wasn't planning it or thinking ahead. It was just the action of making. That's all I cared about. And I just wanted to use every single tool in the workshop. I wanted to be in the workshop. So I made, I got this broken bike from a skip. And as you walked in the room, it was like you go down a little corridor and there was a pile of these 3 things. So first, and you said choose one. So you pick one of the things. And the first was a pile of bread. And then beside that was a big box of remote controls, like 50 or so remote controls for a telly. And then the third pile was a bicycle repair kit. So you go in, you choose one of the things, and then you enter the room and you're faced with this broken bicycle just sitting there saying, fix me. It's a locker, but this second picture you can see there's a toaster built into it. And then on the wall, there was a TV on standby. So just with your tool, your tool was the key. You'd go in and just use it. So people made toast all day long. That's all it was. It's a glorified toaster on wheels. Nothing more special than that.
Yes.
And in the bicycle repair kit, I just had random. I had sellotape, of course. That's how I fix things. There's someone fixing it. I sellotape. I had toothpaste. I had the lyrics to a song. I had just had a array of stuff, because it wasn't about fixing the bicycle as a bicycle. It was about fixing the sculpture. Like, how can we complete this? Because I didn't know. It's an unfinished sculpture. Like, my degree show was an unfinished sculpture. I just wanted people to help me out. And then with the TV, it was 50 remote controls, and one remote control had batteries in it, and the rest all didn't. So you'd select one and go in and try to turn it on, and it wouldn't turn on. Yeah. And then you keep trying, and eventually when you get the right one, the TV will turn on, and the screen just said, "Well done." So it was just, like, what do you want from it? You don't get much. So the work was all just kind of about trying and failing a little bit.
Yes.
But are you failing? And it was completely experimental though as well. Like, literally until the day, I didn't know what was going to happen. I set the work up, but it was all the public before me on it. I was just standing back and watching, and I'd come in, like, this girl was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna fix this bike, I'm gonna fix it," but she couldn't. I gave her toothpaste, I gave her sellotape, I gave her a spoon. She couldn't fix the bike, And even I came and for most of the exhibition, toast all over the floor, like for the whole thing. And one day I came in and some random person was just cleaning it up, and I was like, okay, do whatever you want, but that's just a funny thing. This work was all about things working but not really working.
Yeah. Do you have to present to your teachers the logic behind it or anything like that?
Like I had maybe like 15 to 17 notebooks about all this work, the progression, how it came to be. But like I had a personal tutor, David Fagan, and he really knew the work, and he was there the whole way through. But for the rest of them, they just saw like the statement, and I didn't want them really to know what was behind the work. I quite like if you just look at it and you like it. You can look at these objects, and they're everyday objects, so you can relate to them so easily. You understand them.
Yes. And
it was quite straightforward. I was saying, choose one of these things, and you go into the room, and the objects are asking you to do something. So I like it that anyone can understand. I don't want you to have to be in the art world to get it. And I don't want you to be afraid to touch the work as well. I don't want you to be afraid to break it. It's just a thing I found in a skip. It's not precious.
Yes.
I like the work to be tangible and touchable. And even a nice thing that happened as well was the toaster. Actually, so it was a working toaster. It has a handle, works perfectly. It was all plugged in. It was grand. But it actually got used so much on the first day that I got a call, and they were like, "Aoife, it's burning." And I had to run in, and in the back behind the wall, I just plugged it out entirely, because I was like, this is going to stress me out. Yes. And the nice thing then was because I allowed people, and people knew they could touch everything in the room, they ended up going in and opening the locker and being like, why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? Trying to fix the toaster, like getting into the wire and really being like, what's going on here? And of course, I had turned it off at the back, so nothing bad could happen. But that was a lovely reaction to it.
Very good. Very good. Okay, let's move on. Oh, sorry, there was an extra slide there.
Some kids and his dad playing. So this is one of my favorite collaborations as well, with Ali Farley. So in our final year, we started collaborating, and this was shown at the degree show. They had this NCAD live event throughout the degree show. So we put a proposal forward called White Bed Sandwich, where me and Ali wanted to make a sandwich with 2 slices of white bed. So instead of white bread, we got 2 white mattresses, and we just made a really big sandwich with it. That was such a fun event. And if you click next, there's some little pictures that'll pop up. Yes. So we like lathered the mattress with mayonnaise, and then we cut up some lettuce and some tomatoes, and we just, no talking, just very kind of scientifically and insular, we just made this sandwich, and that was it. Like, lots of our work, like it's quite to do with the words itself. So it's a play on words of white bread sandwich, white bed sandwich.
Yeah.
There's all, like, maybe in a couple of years we'll look back and we'll realize, oh, there was something more there. But at the moment, even now, a year on, it's still, we made a sandwich with 2 slices of white bed. There's no concept, there's nothing more behind it than what it actually is.
Okay. Yeah.
That's that piece.
Now, this is you're back.
This is me back. So this is another collaboration with Ali that we did in our final year. I think it was one of our first ones. It's called Ali and Aoife Have Each Other's Backs. So what we did was we made plaster casts of each other's backs, And it's a play on word of like we're best friends. So, you know, I have Ali's back, of course I do, but now I physically have her back. So we made casts, and for about 2 weeks, I had Ali's back with me everywhere I went, and Ali had my back. We were like we would go out to a club, and I'd have her back. We'd be on the dance floor, and I'm carrying this plaster cast of her back. I went to like art events with it. I brought it to work with me. It came to the bathroom with me. Like I had her back with me everywhere for 2 whole weeks. Just, it was such fun work. It was just funny to do. And then with Ali, I got to do my first live performance. So we were quite lucky that with Art Against the Odds, it's Tara O'Carroll and, oh God, I'm forgetting her name. I think it's Anya Phillips. Tara O'Carroll, Anya Phillips. Anyway, definitely Tara O'Carroll. Yeah. But they run 4D Space, and they do an event called Art Against the Odds, where it's kind of about these young artists who are making art against the odds. We don't have money. We don't really have a place to be. If you go back, I'll just explain the first one. Sorry. No, it's grand.
If not,
it doesn't matter.
There.
But so we got, this is the one we did in March for the first event, and I was thinking lots about the businesswoman, because I was commuting to college every day with workers, with all these women and men who were going on their daily working route. And we were all going in at like on the 7 a.m. train, coming home really late. And I was like, I'm doing a full day's work, but it's in the studio and it's different work. You guys are going and you're going to your office. We're in the same route, but we're not in the same world. And I felt like that world's quite inaccessible to me. So we're still doing this today. We started this lecture series where me and Ali dress up as lecturers, and we give these kind of fake lectures, really nonsensical jibber jabber lectures. So the first one we did was in March in Maths Minds, and we gave a lecture about all of our inside jokes and our inside thoughts that no one else could understand, but we just gave a very honest lecture about that. And that was amazing. That was great. Lots of sellotape, lots of drawing. And if you go to the next one, then we got invited to perform in Smock Alley at the Scene and Heard Festival in just before the first lockdown in March this year. And we did another lecture series about a theory we had called the cylindrical earth theory. We watched the Flat Earth documentary, and I said to Ali, fair enough, let's just for argument's sake say the earth is flat. I don't think it is, but let's for argument's sake say it is. And I just said, like, they never talk about how thick they think it is. They always talk about how flat it is, but they never discuss how thick the earth is. So we were like, maybe it's a really long cylinder. So we came up with this cylindrical earth theory. And then we gave a lecture on it. And what was kind of nice was, at the time, Ali was doing her residency in Belgrade. She was there for a couple of months at the beginning of the year. So we did it together, but she was live streamed at the back. But actually she wasn't live streamed, because I was like, technology is so hard. I just don't want to be live streaming. So Ali in Belgrade, we discussed what we were going to discuss, like kind of loosely. Here's some 5 points. We know it. It's going to be 10 minutes long. So Ali sat down in Belgrade and recorded a lecture as if she was giving it with me. So she'd be like, hi guys, how are you? I'm Ali, and this is, and like give a pause for me to talk. So she gave the lecture with lots of pauses for me to jump in and talk, but I didn't see it until literally I was on stage. So there's so many points where Ali's interrupting me, and it makes it so funny, because she'll be like, Aoife, why don't you explain this right now? And I'd stand up to the mic to be like, okay, so here's this. And then Ali would just interrupt me immediately, be like, okay, thanks. So anyway, this is what we're doing. And it just made it so funny, because it sounded like she was so rude, but it was actually just a pre-recorded thing that I was like, come on, let me talk. That was really fun. That was a great piece of work to do.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is coming on to the Dublin Airport Authority project.
Yeah, so I talked about this
now,
before.
Can I just say, the entire class would have pitched for this particular project?
Oh, no, it wasn't like that. Well, I put in briefs and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, whoever wanted to put in a brief. I don't think the whole class did it.
Okay, all right.
But we sent a brief to Philip Napier, and then we were, I think 6 of us were selected to do it, but ours was the only one that was like a video and performative and stuff. And we actually exhibited it at the degree show. We had our own work. And then maybe give some for attention seekers, we also took the stage in NCAD, because I was like, nothing's up there, come on, we'll put something up there. So we put the trolley up and we got it exhibited. So this is a picture of it in Hogan's, and we got it this t-shirt from the Temple Bar tourist shop, and we were feeding it Chris, and we got it a pint of Guinness, and it's wearing little eyelashes. We went into Pennies and we got a fake eyelashes, because you have to show Pennies. We brought it into the pub, so that's it there. That was a great collab.
There's another one from that, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah, so then these are actually our own promo pictures because Dublin Airport didn't take any of us. We did our own photo shoot. So we're actually wearing matching t-shirts to the trolley, and that's just in the set of space. But we got interviewed by them as well. Mm-hmm. They like interviewed us about the work.
Sorry.
The project. Yeah. No, that's okay.
Sorry.
So that's it.
Was that
and
project.
Someone actually stole it in the end. We came back into college to try to find the trolley, and like loads of like the t-shirt was stolen and the bag was stolen, and I guess it's just a valuable piece of work, you know.
It's probably hanging on somebody's wall.
Oh, absolutely.
With an astronomical price tag.
It's in the MoMA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is going to Aruba.
Oh yeah. Okay. Now I'm in Aruba. We're all in Aruba now.
Yeah.
So that was, I finished my degree show, and then I got accepted to go on to Aruba. And the first month when I was there, I got invited to come and do a photography workshop for 1 month. And I emailed them back and I was like, thank you so much. I really want to come, but I need more than 1 month. Like, I'm coming from Ireland. I can't come for 1 month. That's not enough. So they were like, Grant, stay for 2 months. So the first month was a photography workshop with Fernando Vermeer. He's like the photographer in Aruba. Like, Aruba is so small. So I was there at the studios, and this is the little house that I was living in. And it was quite nice because I don't think about photography in my work. Like, for me, photography is just documentation. It's just practical. I never really see it as photographs, like in terms of an artistic photograph. I don't really think about lighting or setup or style or anything. It's just, no matter how blurry or pixelated or whatever it is, if you can tell what's going on, that's enough for me. So it was really nice to work with a professional and commercial photographer who had this different mindset, whereas he was more into the lighting and the setup and the angles and the balance. And I don't even think about that. So we did this photography workshop, and it made me think about my performances more as, like, I would think about the image first instead of like setting up a camera and doing something whatever and then taking the nicest still from it. I would then set up the camera and be like, I want to make this photograph. So this is a piece called Breaking Into My Own Home, where I tried to climb in the window of my house, and then I wanted to make it funny, so I'm wearing my polka dot bikini bottoms and climbing in. But I had this exhibited, so that was nice. So it's called Going Swimming in Reverse, and I was talking earlier about like Aruba kind of making me use its environment, because I wanted to be like, the ocean is my materials, like the heat is my materials. So I was thinking, this is one of the first pieces I made. I was like, just think of something and go make it. Come on, get on with it, Aoife. Make something. You're on a residency. So I was thinking of how you go to the beach and you take everything off. So I went to the beach in my bikini and put everything on. And these are little video stills of me doing it. So I'm putting on my shoes and my jeans, and I brought a raincoat to Aruba because I'm Irish, and I thought I should bring a coat. I didn't use it once. And I put on my socks and I put on my shoes, and then I just go for a swim in all my clothes. That was nice. And that really was like, I had to gear myself up for it, because I was like, oh, where am I? And there wasn't really an art scene there, and people didn't seem to be doing stuff. And I remember I went down once to do it, and there's some people around, and I went home, and I went down really early one day, and there's one person fishing, and I was like, no one knows you, just do it. No one cares. Just go and do what you need to do. You're at work. You're working right now. This is important. So there I am, just going swimming in the sea in all my clothes. And that was nice. And once I did that, I was like, I can do anything. This is fine. No one cares. That's it.
I remember my daughter, who studied contemporary voice in London, one of her projects was to go to, I think it was Waterloo Station or something like that, at 8 o'clock in the morning, mm-hmm. and stand in the middle of the entire place with all these thousands, hundreds of thousands of people passing by all the time, and literally start singing.
Gorgeous.
I mean, belting, and just seeing people's reactions. And it was a fascinating thing. But it's to get over this sort of inhibition.
Yeah, I think you just need to do it.
Yeah.
You just need to get on with it. There's a thing, this is dramatic, but I always think about this. I think it's such a nice little yoke to think about. But like with horses, like if there's a racehorse, not a racehorse, like in the horse show, they go over all the jumps and yeah, but they're doing that race. Yeah, that's the word, show jumping. If like the horse kind of pauses at one of them and doesn't jump, they basically lost because they've gone too slow. But still, they have to keep going, because the horse has to be like, I can't just give up. I have to, even if I pause, I'm going to have to still finish the thing. And I always think about that of like, if I want to do a project, say a swimming one, I really wanted to do that. And I kind of went to do it, and then I was like, oh no. And then because I hesitated, and because I was like, no, you're too shy. Then I was like, okay, if you have to do it now, you
Yeah.
know, your punishment is that you have to go do it.
Even if you get 4 faults,
Yeah, because
you
if
have to
I
go back and jump again.
yeah, like if I gave up on that one piece, I wouldn't do any other stuff. Like if I
Yeah.
was too scared, you just need to do it. You just need
Yeah.
to get on with it,
Yeah.
which is good. So then this piece as well, I was so nervous for this. It's called One Shift at Alfie's. So Alfie's was the pub just down the road from where I was living in Aruba, like literally 5 minute walk. And I became very good friends with Amal, the owner, and Peter. They were both from Canada, and they were just lovely, like so chatty as like pub owners are, I suppose. And I would hang out with them quite a lot, and I got given, you can kind of see it around my waist there. It was a big roll of like paper, I suppose it was.
Yep.
And I was just sitting in there with them one night, and I was like, can I do a performance in here, please? Can I just do a performance in your pub? Because they have singers up all the time and stuff. And they're like, yeah, do whatever you want. I don't care. So I brought this big roll of paper and I put it around my waist. And I was thinking about how it looked like a big, massive thing of receipt paper, like a till roll.
Yeah.
And like when you're in a bar, if there's an exchange going on, like they'll give you a drink and you give them money, or that's normally how it goes, and then you get the receipt for it. So I was thinking, but there's also so many other exchanges that are going on. Like when I went and sat down there, I didn't know anyone in Aruba, of course, when I arrived. So I became friends with Amal, and I'd be sitting there talking to her, and she'd be like, Amal, this is Tom, talk to him. This is so and so, talk to him. And she'd be like, oh, you guys will get along. Aoife likes this and you like that. So like there was other exchanges going on in terms of exchange of conversation, exchange of stories, and because everyone was so happy to tell me all these stories of Aruba. And so I wanted to do this thing called One Shift at Alfie's, where I worked for one whole shift. So I was there for, I think, 6 hours. And I was working as an artist, but I was making the receipts for Amal for the whole night. So I sat down there. At first I was just recording what I saw going on. So I was like, one of the singers is setting up their microphone. Amal is just serving a customer. Then I got talking to someone beside me, and then I was like, do you want to tell me a story? I'm just recording the night. So they would tell me a story, maybe their life story, or a little funny joke, or a little drawing. And then throughout the night, as the night went on, everyone was joining in and writing their own stories, and we were drawing pictures, and people were coming up to me being like, can I tell you a story? And I was like, yes. Yeah. So I was recording all these lovely stories until I had the whole thing done, this one big massive receipt of working one shift in the pub. And then I gifted it to them. But that was lovely, and I was so nervous, but no reason to be nervous at all.
And that's still there, is it?
Yeah, I gave it to her, and she has it she has it like up along the like beam. She has it waving up along the beam. So that's nice.
Yes. I mean, a lot of your work seems to be quite transitory in that you can't actually keep it.
Yeah, definitely.
How does that feel? I mean, some people would get upset about that, to let their babies go. And
I actually don't. Like, I threw my degree show in the bin maybe like 2 weeks after it closed, because I had it documented, and I didn't like these, like, so how I was talking about my degree show of like, go and touch it, go and break it, it's okay, it's not precious. Like, it wasn't precious to me. The idea was precious. So like this work, I gave it to her. I can recreate it. I can do it again. The concept is still there. Like, that work was a very in the moment work. It has to stay there because it's of that place,
Yes.
And with other works, I can do them again if I want to. They can be repeated. I don't need the specific objects. They're not that special to me because they were found, or they were found cheaply, or they came to me. But I don't get attached that much to these objects.
Attachment, that's interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, let's move on to the table and chairs.
Oh yeah, so I love this work. Actually, Ali says it's my best work, but I don't know, there's other works that I like a lot more. But this is called Befriending My Tables and Chairs. So this is going to sound sad, but it's not sad. So when I was there for the first month, there wasn't that many in Aruba. There wasn't that many people. Like, I was doing my workshop, but like, I don't know, it wasn't the Irish banter. It's kind of hard to talk to people. I tried really hard, and I did make friends over there. I had a good time, but the first month was quite lonely, because no one else lived in the studios. There was maybe like 5 little apartments, but no one else lived there. I don't know why, just no one did. So I was there by myself, and I'm a very sociable person, but it kind of made me step back and be like, okay, well, what do I want to do? Not what does someone else want to do? So I spent lots of time by myself the first month, and lots of time with, like, in my dining room with the table and chairs. And I'm quite interested in objects and kind of seeing them almost as if they have a life of their own. like, you know, if I see a broken object, I feel quite empathetic towards it. I'm like, oh no, you can't do your job anymore, but let's give you something else to do. So I was looking at my table and chairs, and I had previously, as like a little fun thing for myself, with all the chairs in the studios in Aruba, I made like a reality TV show where they were being really mean to each other, just they wanted something to do. So I already was seeing my chairs as like little people. And then I was quite interested in their legs. They had these yellow legs, and the table has yellow legs, and it was almost like socks or tights or something. And it made them be legs. It wasn't just like practical chair legs. They were genuine people's legs. And I just then was like, okay, well, these are my friends, the table and chairs. So I just painted my leg yellow and I sat with it. It's kind of me trying to blend in. It's me trying to be with the table and chairs.
Lovely.
Yeah, that's that piece.
Okay, it's repurposing.
It's so this piece is being exhibited at the moment as part of the previous piece, the leg piece.
Yeah.
It's being exhibited in the 1 foot square online exhibition with Fermanagh and Omagh Arts and Culture.
Yes.
That's available to view online, that piece.
Okay. And just as a photograph, an image of it?
It's a print, yeah. It's
a print, yeah.
It got accepted to the exhibition. That's fun.
Very good. Well done. Well done.
Thanks.
Okay.
And we're nearly on the last piece now. That's making the bed. I was quite interested in repetition and the act of doing whilst simultaneously undoing something. So and I started making it, but whilst I was on the bed, so every corner I made really neat, I would turn around and try to make the other corner neat whilst messing up my previous corner. And it took me like so long. I didn't even get it in the end. I think at the end, because I had to turn the fan off for the sound, I ended up collapsing. So I was like, oh my God, I'm so sweaty and tired. But it was just this pointless effort. Like I could have kept doing this for hours and never have gotten it. So and that's the kind of work I'm kind of interested in now, is what action can I do, and whilst doing it, I'm undoing it. Like a pointless repetition of, you know, the going around. So that's what I like. That's that piece.
I just move that on a bit because it's quite long.
It's quite long.
And you're exhausted at the end of it.
I do. I actually just like collapse at the end of the legs. I can't cope. Like, so this piece, I like painting, but I'm not into painting. So I call this the useless painting. So when I was there for the 2 months in my studio, I had all this cardboard pinned to the wall. And whenever I was kind of a bit like in a rush in terms of sculpture or like the work I wanted to make, I would go and do a bit of this painting because I didn't have to think about it. I just needed to do an action. So I just do a bit of painting, whatever. And then I would just get so sick of it because I don't really enjoy painting. And when I was getting sick of the painting, I'd be like, I wish I was doing some sculpture. And then I'd turn and I'd go back and I'd be really more into the sculpture. So I wasn't even going to exhibit it. This was a completely useless thing. It wasn't meant to be done, but that made it kind of fit in, I guess, with my work, was that this painting its only use was to remind me of how much I don't like painting and to get me back into sculpture, you know. But then I actually quite liked it at the end because it was kind of a documentation of the 2 months, because I did this whole thing over 2 months, just adding little bits here and there, not thinking about it, letting it happen. And it was massive. Like I don't know how tall, but you know, it was as tall as the ceiling. It was a ginormous thing, and like a diary of the whole 2 months in a way. So that's the end of it, I think.
Very good, very good. Okay, we're back to you now.
Back at it.
So listen, well done. That's super. And tell me, what are your plans now? Have you any plans in the offing?
I actually have some really fun news. So with the yellow leg piece, the Befriending tables and chairs, so that got accepted into the 1 foot square exhibition with Fermanagh and Omagh County Council, and they had the presentation of it last night, the opening, and they had some awards. And I actually won the second prize. So I'm going to next year have a solo show in the Strual Arts Centre up in Fermanagh. I think I was talking to you before and I was saying, like, I really want a solo show in Ireland. I just got one last night. So I'm so excited.
Fantastic. Oh, that's a tremendous achievement.
Yeah, I'm still in disbelief about it. Like, it's great.
And you only discovered this yesterday?
Like last night at like 7
Really?
and I wasn't even going to really watch it. I was like, you know, I wanted to do some thinking about this interview, so I wasn't really going to watch it. And then we just sat down, me and Ali, we sat in the studio and watched it, and we were both like, oh my god, hang on, wait a second,
that's my name.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's so good because like I had a solo show in Aruba, but it was, you know, my friends didn't really get to see it, and it was so far away. But I came back being like, that was amazing. I loved having a solo show, but I want one in Ireland where it can be where I'm comfortable. I can show my friends, and I can be here. So,
I know.
yeah, I'm so excited to have that solo show. It feels like
Well
a
done.
lovely
That's
to achieve.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's a few comments here. Catherine Kagan, who I can see. Hello, Catherine. She's down in places very familiar to me, Kilreelig. I can recognize the skylight there in your cottage. Catherine says, greetings from stormy Bolus Head. Sorry for the late entry, that's fine. Annette Durkin says, fascinating talk. Sorry I had to leave early. Thanks, Alan and Aoife. Catherine says, hi, Aoife, interesting presentation and images. When you were experiencing the loneliness at Aruba, did you find this helped your creative process? Good question.
Yeah, that is a really good question.
Yeah.
I think because I'm always trying to be quite social, it was really nice to force myself not to be. You know, I have to spend time alone. And because of the time difference as well, I couldn't really contact people back home. So I just, like I was lonely, but then once I lent into it, it was more like, I can make fun, I can entertain myself. I don't have to be always with people. And it made me, I think I made some very, very good work in Aruba because of that, because I had no one to be like, oh, is this okay? Like, is that good work? I was making all the decisions. And each day I wake up, I'd be like, what do I want to do? What do I want to do today? Do I want to have a studio day? Do I want to do whatever? No one was there to distract me. And I did make some very good friends over there, but I spent a lot of the time in the studio by myself for the whole 2 months, which I think as a thing that I don't do normally, it was such a fantastic experience to be miles away from home and completely by myself.
Yeah.
Sounds
good. Wonderful experience.
Yeah, good for reflection as well.
Yes. Louise Ward, congrats, Aoife.
Thanks, Mum.
Thanks, Mummy. Yes. Congratulations, Aoife, says Trina. Anya says, congratulations, you go, girl. Catherine, fantastic achievement, Aoife. Louise Ward says, we're proud of you. That's very nice. Now, there's a long one here. Owen, well done. Breda, to everyone. Aoife, you are such an interesting artist. This is Aoife Smith, or Brenda Smith. Aoife, you're such an interesting artist and so original in your thinking. Best of good wishes on your forthcoming solo exhibition. I have a gut feeling you are going to be a highly recognized artist and sculptor. I agree. Thank you, Alan, for fixing all the blips on the Margaret Becker's episode last week. Indeed, there were blips. Delighted to view again the updated episode number 24. Yeah, if you missed that, you should really have a look and see the videos and slides of Margaret's stained glass work going back so far. Now in her mid-80s, it is wonderful to see and hear about her career to date as a printmaker and stained glass artist. Thank you, Alan. Thanks for that, Breda. Yeah, it was wonderful. Flo, to everyone. Hey, Aoife, you're such a positive and strong artist. Greetings from the Netherlands.
Yeah, I went to college in the Aki with Flo.
Yeah, great. Okay, now this is what I absolutely love. It's somebody who thinks sideways, somebody who thinks outside the box completely. And as I said, when you do change the way you look at things you look at change. There is no doubt about that. And I find that very refreshing with you. You know, you're the future of art, you and your contemporaries. And it's going to be very interesting to see how that ends up. And what I like in particular is that you are not closing any doors. You know, you're saying, well, let's go through that door, let's go through that door. And you just never know how that's going to end up. And I think you should be congratulated, as you are being, for being that type of person. And I've no doubt we're going to hear about you in the future. So well done. Well done.
Thanks so much.
Now, would anybody like to come in and make a comment? There's a new message down here. Dennis says, musicians have a saying, leave the applause at the exit doors of the theatre. I haven't heard this in relation to a sculpture. Very refreshing. Beautiful personality, Aoife. Every success to you. Thanks for that, Dennis. Okay, anybody brave enough to come on in person and say hello or anything?
Say hello to Aoife, Alan, if you don't mind.
Yes, of course, Louise. Hi, you're welcome.
Congratulations, Aoife. We're very proud of you, and it's really interesting hearing your own daughter tell her own story.
Did you learn anything?
Certainly very determined, Alan. and definitely has a just do it attitude. And I have a bad habit of throwing everything away. So I'm not surprised that her work is to do with transient objects. But thank you so much for hosting her, Alan. It's fantastic.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for coming on. Thanks, Louise.
Alan.
Anybody else? Yeah.
Alan, Catherine
Yes.
here.
Catherine, hiya.
Hi. Just to say to Aoife, apply for Kilreelig.
Oh, amazing.
It's
okay.
just absolutely breathtaking place. Fantastic. The landscape is just incredible. So I advise you to apply for Kilreelig.
I agree with you, Catherine, but it's not the Caribbean.
Oh God, no! I'm afraid it's a bit of hardship is actually good for your creative juices. I think
that's very true. That's very, very true.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy that. How long are you down for?
I'm down for 2 weeks. Arrived on Tuesday, so back on the 15th.
Okay, excellent.
So it's very stormy so far.
Yeah.
So getting out in between the hail showers.
Yes, but that's lovely
wonderful.
though. It's lovely when it's like that.
Well, the winter light is just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. Say hi to Noelle for me.
I will.
Great. Okay. Anybody else like to say hello?
Alan, could I say hello?
Yeah. Hi, Robert.
How are you, Alan? Good to hear you again.
Good to see you.
Aoife, I was very inspired by your talk this morning, I must say. For me, all art is about perception, and I think your approach to it really plays around with perceptions, of things. So congratulations to you. It was really inspiring. Maybe just for everybody, and for you as well, Aoife, if you don't already know it, but there are 5 hours of performance art tonight, which has been curated by Marina Abramovich, a well-known performance artist, and that's on Sky TV from 9 o'clock this evening. So it might interest everybody in light of what we've been listening to and seeing this morning. Yeah. So well done. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Robert. Thank you. Anybody else?
I've set that to record, Robert. I've set that to record at home.
Yes, I have it set to record myself.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, unless there's anybody else who'd like to come in, we'll wrap up, I think, for today. Anybody else quickly? No? No. All right. Okay, Aoife, once again, thanks a million.
Thank you.
As you can see from the response, you've struck a chord, and you're very authentic and very unique, and never change. That's all I can say to you.
I won't ever. Okay.
All right. Okay, everybody. Thanks. Oh, sorry. There's just one more. Oh no. Rupert, grand. Okay. Thanks for that, Rupert. Okay. Listen. Tune in next week. We have another 2 weeks to go before the end of the year. Both are filled. We have a very interesting woman next Saturday and a man to finish up on the last day, which I think is the 21st of December. I'm not sure. But anyway, there's 2 more to go before the new year. So thank you all so much for tuning in from all over the world, which is wonderful. And great testament to you, Aoife, as well, that they all tuned in this morning. Thank you all. Thank you, Aoife, again. And look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.